You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón.
Live from SmittyOne.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Take a lap.
What is going on, good people? Back yet again for another episode of the Fantasy Football Show. I'm your man, Smitty, and we're here with more A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, Terry Scary McLaurin news, updates, and predictions. And, you know, we've already exactly what your boy Smitty said literally less than a couple hours ago. What I tell you? A.J. Brown most likely to get re-signed according to ESPN. Diana Rossini, I'm told both sides are working towards an extension for A.J. Brown to remain a Titan for a long time per multiple sources, and basically responding to A.J. Brown's tweet earlier that said, "I'm a diva and a bad teammate. All of a sudden, LOL. Okay, do what you have to do, and so will I." So we talked about this, going over the three big name players right here that are due for contract extensions, three of which are like gearing up for holdouts. A.J. Brown, Terry Scary McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and then of course I have DK Metcalf on screen, but DK Metcalf is preparing to participate in off-season activities, whereas A.J. Brown, Scary Terry McLaurin, and Deebo Samuel are not. They're on the collision course with chaos with their teams because they want extensions. What's up, Joey? They want extensions and they want it now. And I don't blame them, to be quite frank. Joey, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I got Twitter Spaces over in the corner. I've got Twitter. I'm streaming live on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and also Twitch. So let's go. Drew C in the house. Drew, appreciate you. So far, Drew is the high super chatter of the year. Let me get that up on screen as promised. Drew, I'll have that always there up on screen for you. Just remind me if you don't see it. Drew has a 105 spot. He's currently the leader. Who's going to knock him off? Drew's been there for a little over 2 weeks now. And we don't have a super chatter, anybody dropping a super chat higher than that. So you want to knock off Drew C, knock him off. Do it. Do it live. Do it now. AJ Brown removes Tennessee from his Instagram profile. His Insta profile, he removes Tennessee. He participates in the scrubbing of social media to a smaller degree, but it was significant. People started talking about it as soon as he did it. And what did your boy Smitty tell you less than 2 hours ago on the emergency live stream talking about these 4 players right here? I said AJ Brown's the most likely to get a contract and not get traded because the Titans are in win now mode. What benefit would the Titans have by trading away AJ Brown, by letting him stay disgruntled? You tell me. By the way, go to Underdog Fantasy by going to smitty1.com, which is right below it on the sign here, smitty1.com, and click on this Underdog banner, or go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Smitty, drop $10, and send me a DM that you did it. I'll give you a free phone call and access to my video courses all year long. Back on point. AJ Brown removes the Tennessee Titans from his profile, or the word Tennessee, representing the Titans. Then he plays for the Titans. What's up, Kelly? Hit me with a thumbs up, Kelly, if you can hear me okay. So he removes Tennessee from his profile, okay? Partaking in this so-called scrubbing of sorts of social media accounts, and the Titans react like your boy Smitty told you they would. Immediately, this report comes out from Diana Rossini from ESPN that a deal's being worked on. And don't worry about AJ Brown. He's not getting traded. He's the least likely to get traded of the wide receivers on screen. DK Metcalf, Scary Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel. These are all players that are subject to disgruntled situations or chaos amongst the team and them, and trying to negotiate deals or extensions or trades, facilitating trades. Deebo Samuel is the most likely to request a trade if you ask me. I told you AJ Brown was the most likely not to get traded. I told you AJ Brown was the most likely to get a new deal before the rest of them, the most likely to sign an extension. Deebo Samuel is the most likely to request a trade as of this moment. DK Metcalf is the most likely to get traded. How'd you come up with that, Smitty? One's most likely to request a trade. The other is more likely to get traded because the Niners drag their feet with everything they do. Even if there's a trade potential set up here for Deebo Samuel, the Niners are they're going to drag their feet. They're going to drag their feet, not to mention they want to sign Deebo in July or August. And if Deebo doesn't like the contract talks then, what on earth makes anybody think they're going to trade him before that point? They're going to drag their feet unless Deebo can make a stink and request a trade early, which is why I say Deebo requests a trade early, because Deebo's smart and he knows that the NFL draft coming up is going to be the opportunity for the Niners to trade him. If the draft goes by and 2 weeks from now he waits, to urge them to trade him, and the draft goes by, that draft capital that you get for Deebo is now no longer attainable because the picks have already been made. The draft capital is gone, and now you're looking at 2023. The Niners don't want to trade him for 2023 draft capital. The Niners want draft capital now if they're going to go down that road. Deebo may need to facilitate this and speed it along by requesting a trade. Now, two sides are going to meet, Deebo and the Niners, to try and hash this out, but my guess is the Niners are going to say, Deebo, you got to wait until July or August. Deebo's going to get up from the table. Maybe he stays a little longer, eats a big steak dinner, and then gets up from the table. That's what I would do. But I'd get up from the table, I walk away, and I say, no, I'm not going to come to camp, play running back and wide receiver for you while you continue to ignore my contract. Because that's what's happening, and it's getting really frustrating even for me, who I don't like some of the games that the players play, but they've got to do it. It's their negotiation tactic. So stop throwing shade and anger and all. And I know I'm hypocritical in one sense because I did throw a lot of shade on Kyler, and I'm allowed to. I'm a Cardinal fan. I'm in Arizona. I'm allowed to do that more than anybody because this is my team. But I threw shade on Kyler because Kyler isn't coming to work the same way Debo and DK have been coming to work. Kyler is bringing a lot of negativity around his situation all by himself. He's creating a black cloud over his head and literally self-made chaos by Kyler. Kyler Murray I deserve to be critical of Kyler when he scrubs his social media, when he doesn't have a leg to stand on the other side of that. Whereas A.J. Brown, Debo Samuel, McLaurin, they can. Debo can come to the table and say, I scrubbed my social media. Yeah, you could look at that as a negative, but guess what I did do? Every single thing you asked me to do on the field. What is Kyler going to say? I scrubbed my social media, and I didn't do everything you asked me to do on the field, and I got hurt, and I refused to go in the game during the final snap of the game to snap with my teammates, and I started calling the Cardinals out saying they set me up for failure. Very, very different situation. So that's kind of explains why I clowned on Kyler more than I am any other player that's scrubbing social media. Look, you're doing good work. You're coming to work every day and you're talking about scrubbing social media or doing this tactic or that tactic. I'm okay with it if you're doing all the other things correctly and proper. So give me a break. And A.J. Brown, mark my words, will not get traded. Why would the Titans trade him? Like I said 2 hours ago, why would the Titans trade him? The Titans believe they're the number one team in their division. They believe they're probably the number one seed in their conference, and they have a right to feel that way. They were the number one seed last year. We all know that things probably won't be the same this year. It's not going to be, but the Titans don't know that. The Titans feel they're number one, and the Titans have every right to feel that way, and the Titans have every right to expect a playoff berth. I don't know that they're going to get a playoff berth, to be completely honest. This is a tough division. I came out with my predictions yesterday, and people, like, it set people off. But they believe they're in win now mode. They believe they can be the number one team in the conference. So why are they going to get rid of A.J. Brown? So they can take away all that hope and have no shot? It's not going to happen. Okay? It's different for DK. The team blew up. They blew up in a way they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have got rid of Russell Wilson. You don't get rid of a top 5 quarterback without a backup plan. But they did. They let that situation get all crazy and chaotic. And then they sent Russell Wilson on his way to Denver, where I think he could actually win a Super Bowl. He could actually make a Super Bowl appearance his first year out. It's a trend that we've been seeing since Tom Brady moved to Tampa, championship. Then you got Stafford to the Rams, championship. Why not Russell Wilson? He gets probably the 1 or 2 or 3 overall running back in the NFL. He has a very underrated wide receiver stable, and then he's got a great offensive line and defense. He's going to potentially be a top 4 team in 2022 right out of the gate, and he could be a Super Bowl champion in Denver. Seattle messed up. I know Seattle got a lot, but Seattle blew things up early. What makes you think they want to for sure keep DK, who is requiring on his 1 year left a new big expensive deal? If you're blowing stuff up and you're starting over, guess what? You're in rebuild mode. And that means DK is the most susceptible player of the 4 wide receivers on screen. Debo, A.J. Brown, DK, Terry McLaurin. He's the most susceptible to get traded, and for good and logical reasons that I just laid out. DK's on the move. I'm pretty confident, very confident, 80% certain that one of these wide receivers, not going to be A.J. Brown, are getting traded. Maybe on or before draft day, but definitely at some point this year. The reason it makes sense to do it before draft day is that draft capital argument. You really are going to get a lot less teams interested if you pass by this draft and you don't have this now draft capital. Davis Mills seasons. No, Okafor, not Davis Mills season. Take a lap. I appreciate you, Okafor, but no. Guys trying to talk up Davis Mills season. I like Davis Mills a little bit, but you can't use Davis Mills season. That there's no room for that. You can't waste season on Davis Mills. Can't do that. Can't call him a GOAT. Can't say it's Davis Mills season. We can only have so many seasons, guys. We're not going to waste one of them on Davis Mills. Appreciate everybody being here. First in the building today was Mario. Mario, haven't seen you first in the building then. Tariq, what's up, Tariq? Matt, Philip, Ray, Kenny, Key, Jeremy, Mark, all you guys. Appreciate you being here. Notification gang on YouTube. And then I've got Twitter Spaces in the corner. I got I got Kelly, I got Joey. What's up? From my boy he's fantasy football analyst. Go check him out on Instagram. He's my boy. I got Twitter Spaces over there. You guys want to jump up and ask a question? Raise your hand. Let's do it. Let's do it live. David Mills. Sorry, I keep saying Dave. Okay, so anyway, we're not talking about Mills at all. Mike White season. Hey, you can make fun of Mike White all you want, 49er, and I know you might just be poking at me. But just because I see a quarterback has a lead upside and other people don't doesn't mean that I'm wrong, 49er. Let me just tell you that right now. Okay? Tyler Huntley, Mike White, these are two quarterbacks that it's not my problem and not my fault that NFL teams actually view guys like Baker Mayfield and Carson Wentz better than these upside players like Mike White and Tyler Huntley. The NFL's got a problem. Coaches have a problem where because a guy's in a backup role, they feel like there's something wrong with him. He can't be an elite riser. It takes a special kind of coach to look through all that noise and say, you know what? I saw film on Mike White, and I disagree that he's a bench player right now. I saw Tyler Huntley rise up and look very much like Lamar for a string of quarters in a row and games in a row. And yeah, while Tyler Huntley fell apart at the end, I get it. He still looked very, very good, enough to open my eyes and say he's better than 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks that are going to enter lineups as the starter in 2022 for a handful of teams. Not my fault, 49er. Mike White's season should be upon us. He should be somewhere. A team should be trading for him and giving him a shot. Same thing with Tyler Huntley. And maybe they don't work out, but they're worth a shot as much as Trubisky or Minshew would be, or Jameis injury Winston. Look, Mike White and Tyler Huntley deserve a shot as much as Jameis Winston. You can at me all you want. That's how I feel. And it's not going to change. Mike White deserves a shot. Tyler Huntley deserves a shot. I don't know why teams are knocking on doors and saying, you know, hey, what's the cost? Second or third rounder? Who cares about a second or a third rounder? 49er, I wasn't sure if you agreed or not. I was just making a point clear because a lot of people throw that Mike White at me because I love Mike White. There was a time where I was like, this kid's gonna, like, I love Zach Wilson. You can find nothing but Zach Wilson, me pumping him up. I love him. There's two good quarterbacks on this team. And honestly, the Jets are probably lucky in that nobody's knocking down the door because they probably accept a second or third rounder offer. They're probably in good hands because if something happens to Zach Wilson, they're in good shape. Like, it's not a bad move, but you can't keep him on the bench forever either. So we're gonna go to the voicemails in a little bit. If anybody in Twitter Spaces has a question, raise your hand and I'll throw you in. Deebo Samuel, like, I think this is gonna get ugly, guys, because every single time Davis Mills is not a top 10 quarterback, Okafor. Stop it. He has potential, bro. I've said it before. I like him. Davis Mills looks pretty good. He looks pretty good. Like, I've seen him play. He looks pretty good. But two things going against you, pal. Number one, he's on the Texans. Okay? Texans are going to win at best 3 or 4 games this year. He's on the Texans. Not set up to win. There aren't a ton of wide receivers at his disposal. There's not a whole lot going on for him to produce the kind of numbers you're talking about. In time, can I see him climbing up my rankings and being a sleeper? Sure. I like him. But let's not act like he can do it this year. The Texans are all about getting that high draft pick in 2023. That's what they're looking at. That's what they need. That's what they're focused on. I think this, if any team's ready to lose and wanting to lose, it is the Houston Texans. The Seahawks probably as well. These are the two bottom barrel teams right now. Texans and Marlon Mack. Come on, bro. Come on. Marlon Mack. Don't even bring up Marlon Mack. Oh, my God. All right, next question. Depends on how bad the Texans defense and running game will be, says Prime. Yeah, well, get ready. It's not going to be pretty. Rank Montgomery, Jones, Gibson, Swift. This one's pretty easy. It's Swift. Swift and then page break. Okay? Next page, you have probably, it's going to be a toss-up between Monty Gibson and Aaron Jones, because Aaron Jones, you may have some creative ways to use him in Green Bay without wide receivers. If you remember back when Adams went down, that's when Aaron Jones went crazy, had these massive amounts of touchdowns and strings of games where they leaned on the run heavy. I'm not saying they're going to permanently go in that direction, but the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers and this offense specifically knows how to cater around having some limitations and pushing toward one style of play versus another and being able to make that change. Now, I think that A.J. Dillon's season, which we can use in that case, is upon us. At least a mini season, partial season, or some good ups and downs. He'll have some good games, some bad games. I don't think he'll be consistent all year. But if Aaron Jones goes down, A.J. Dillon to the moon. But A.J. Dillon's going to have a hard time being consistent with Aaron Jones still around. But here's the thing. If Green Bay's smart, and I don't know if they will do this and deploy it this way, but if they're smart, they will use A.J. Dillon up the gut a ton, enough carries to make him very, very consistent. I would do that. Then I would use Aaron Jones in spot duty, but use him as a wide receiver a ton. Have these two guys on the field a lot together, because Aaron Jones is a proven, trusted wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers, and he would thrive. He could have a 70, 80 reception season if the Packers choose to use him that way, even if he's getting 400, 500, 600 yards on the ground versus getting a 1,000-yard season. And it might even keep Aaron Jones healthy, which is kind of a big problem. So give me Aaron Jones, who, might I add, will probably be cut next year, because I believe the Green Bay Packers save between $10 and $13 million, somewhere along those lines, if they cut Aaron Jones next season, which means A.J. Dillon's the guy to own in Dynasty. Now, if A.J. Dillon went down and Aaron Jones went crazy this year, I could see the Packers viewing $10 million as an okay deal to keep him on roster for one more year. So anything can happen. But if A.J. Dillon plays really well and Aaron Jones doesn't go crazy, then Aaron Jones will probably be released next offseason. But so many things can happen between now and then. Absolutely love Aaron Jones, and absolutely feel like he could drop off the face of the earth. It's like there's two sides to this, and I could easily argue both sides of that coin. Easily. Because he could fall off, he could still do well. It's hard to know. David Montgomery's a proven top 5 to 7 fantasy running back, but he's inconsistent, and his offense is inconsistent, and we don't know what's in store for him in 2022. So he could also be a monster find in the 4th and 5th round, which is where he traditionally goes in early mock drafts. 4th and 5th round material is fantastic. That's low risk. The risk is completely baked into that one. We can hit our baked in button
Baked in, boys.
on that one all day long. I like it. The question is Gibson worth what, late 2nd to early 3rd round value? So you got Monty going in 4 or 5. You got Aaron Jones going in 4 or 5. You got Swift, who I already said is miles above all those guys. He's like 13, 14, 15 overall. You could argue 11 or 12 overall. You could argue end of the 1st round. I wouldn't call you crazy at all. But after Swift, it's a total debate. Gibson's got the higher ADP, but if we're talking about Gibson at the end of round 2 or top of 3 versus Jones or Montgomery in 4 or 5, I'd probably say I'd take Jones or Montgomery in 4 or 5. Probably Montgomery versus Gibson at the end of 2 or 3. I'd rather take a wide receiver, or I'd rather take a running back like Breece Hall at the end of round 2 or top of round 3 all day long over Jones, Gibson, and Monty. Like, that's a steal. That's what I'm thinking. That's where my mind goes. I don't really love the value of anybody but Swift. And Swift's got some injury risk, but guess what? That's the only risk he has. Last year, the reason I was cautious with him, and rightly so, is you had injury risk. You also had, coupled with that, situational risk, because you had his OC and head coach both calling him the B-back, and Jamal Williams, former Green Bay Packer running back, the A-back. Whether we agreed with it or not, and we didn't, because we're sane human beings, this coaching staff, and I hate to tell the Niner people that are listening in Spaces, Anthony Lynn is that OC. This OC and head coach literally could not see the talent difference between Swift and Jamal Williams, and that's a problem. And that's why I worry about Anthony Lynn a little bit. However, in a Niners situation, he might be more contained and compartmentalized in his skill set and what his duties are. I don't know that he's making decisions about anything like that. So Shanahan's going to have him in a box and tell him to do a specific thing. And Anthony Lynn does have ability, so I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad fit in San Francisco. I'm just telling you what he did last year. Anthony Lynn had his offensive play call duty stripped from him by mid-season. So it's not like he's coming out of Detroit with a really amazing situation that he was just in. So he's got to prove himself. But compartmentalized skill set wise, maybe Lynn will be good. So that's that. But you tell me rank these guys. It's Swift, and then it's who knows? Probably Montgomery. But give me Breece Hall. And honestly, to be completely frank with you, I like Breece Hall almost as much as I like Swift. And you might think I'm absolutely crazy for that, but that's just how I feel. And you know what? I see Hall very similar to Najee last year. We got made fun of as we started promoting and pushing Najee as a top 10 to 15 overall pick. People are like, are you crazy? I love that value. Okay, Okafor, let's see what Okafor's saying. People are saying Okafor's trolling. I don't think he's trolling. I think he just loves Mills. Okafor has been a very consistent and very amazing person here in the show. Very, very awesome community member. Okafor is the man. But he is a little bit, excited about Mills, and for that reason, we're going to give him a pass. But mark my words, Mills top 10. Let's see what Okafor is on today. Mills pays the bills. All right, top 15 for Mills. Okay, so you're backing off a little bit already. Okay, we like it. You're getting back to normal. Marlon Mack, the second top 10 running back to come back from a torn Achilles. Now you're getting crazy again after Adrian Peterson. He's joking because he knows Adrian Peterson wasn't an Achilles tear. Everyone that knows football knows that Adrian Peterson suffered an ACL tear, not an Achilles. Mack low-key better than Taylor, but you all not ready for that convo. Okay, now he's trolling. Now Okafor's trolling. Okay, now he's trolling. Don't read, Smitty. Oh, yeah, I already read it. You've already embarrassed yourself. Okafor, come on. Come back to normalcy, bro. Come back to normalcy. Stop with that. I think you were serious about Mills, but now you're trying to, maybe joke around to make the Mills stuff feel better. Oh, Okafor. Okay, let's go to Instagram voice messages here. I gotta plug my phone in or we're gonna lose it. I'm at 2%. 2%. Okay, here we go. Voice messages. Caden, I think this might be old.
With all this Browns talk and how much salary cap they're just throwing around, I got a feeling they'll end up trying to trade away Kareem Hunt eventually. If they do end up trading away Hunt, how does that work for Chubb's value? Good question.
Chubb and Hunt have always seemed to weirdly work good together. So I don't know that it necessarily makes it where Chubb's a lock to do better. I think it's always better if the running back that's behind the starter is gone, if that running back is capable of being as good. So ultimately, I think it's good if he's not there. Plus, it gives Hunt, if Hunt's traded to a great situation or a very decent situation, it gives us two fantasy options maybe. So I'm all for the move, but it doesn't necessarily make Hunt or Chubb a bad value if he stays, if that makes sense. It's tough to know, and there's no real way to like figure that out unless we saw it.
Hey Smitty, happy Monday. It's Tariq. How's it going? Hope you and your family's doing well. What's your take on Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown, and Scary Terry possibly holding off on the offseason workouts until they get a new contract? Thanks, bro. I love
Tariq's questions are always like super timely, but they're always like the headline. So we already usually cover Tariq's question by the time we get to this question. But it's a great question, Tariq, and I've answered it in a nutshell. Deebo Samuel, things aren't looking good. I expect a request trade announcement to come out in the next week or so before the draft. I just think that the Niners won't meet his expectation. His expectation is to get a deal now. And they want to wait till July or August. He wants it now. And the way they ask him to run the football, the way they'll ask him to practice playing football, it's warranted to treat this situation a little different than you do the other ones. So get with it, 49er camp, and get your boy signed.
Smitty. Just looking at Denzel Ward's contract, him basically making in guaranteed money what J.C. Jackson's whole contract is. I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to me. Do you just chalk that up to maybe the game, one signed earlier, one signed later?
Absolutely.
Or it's a little bit bigger than that, maybe like agent stuff. I don't know, it's just crazy to me that, J.C. Jackson almost matched, in interceptions, Denzel Ward's career's numbers, It just, I don't know, it's wild.
Yeah, these contracts, the guaranteed money is getting crazy now, and in a way, it's like bad for Deebo to sign now. Like think about it this way: Deebo's smart to wait. Like he's smart to say, okay, I'll wait till June or July. But that would make sense if the Niners weren't the Niners. The Niners, if you wait, the longer you get away from an amount the Niners are willing to pay. A team willing to pay will go the extra mile, and as the values go up, boom. But this is different. The Niners are different, and I think the longer it takes, the longer it takes, the more. Sorry, I had to check a message there. The more the Niners are going to be out of the same ballpark as Deebo. So that's my expectation. Bruce.
Hey, Smitty, did you see where the Panthers said, should we trade for Baker Mayfield on this fan page, and Robbie Anderson commented and said no?
Yes, I saw that, and I don't blame Robbie Anderson. And that's going to be an awkward meeting if Baker does get traded, and they gotta hook up and patch things up. Baker's not a good. He's an okay quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. And we knew this last year going into the season. And I got clowned on for my doubt surrounding the Browns season and my expectation for it. Because I had them losing a plethora of games. I think I had them as a potential losing record year, and they did. And people got upset about that. But look, it had falling apart written all over it.
Another question I have. Everyone blames the head coach and the GM. Where's the owner blame in this? I'm friends with a billionaire, and he told me it's their money.
Bruce.
And he said they'll keep people that they like. They'll get rid of people that they don't like. So maybe the Niners owner likes Jimmy G and he doesn't like Deebo.
Hey, the Bruce, if you're friends with a billionaire, not a millionaire, you're friends with a billionaire, can you get him to come in and drop at least one super chat? Let's test out your friendship with this guy. Send him in here, have him drop a whopper, and let's see if this guy's really a billionaire. I want to test it out, the Bruce. I want to test this sucker out. Luke!
Smitty, what's up, boy?
What's up, man?
What do you think, man? First round pick. I need some advice, man. I don't know who.
First round pick or first overall? If it's first overall, it's JT. You don't even think about it. Javante's fallen into the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and he's my freaking number 2. After that, I like Najee. Then you go 4 straight wide receivers if it's redraft. If it's dynasty, you take Kupp out a little bit, move him down slightly, but it's still JJ, Jamar Chase at 1 and 2 for wide receivers, and they go after the big 3 running backs I just named. Very simple. Get to it, Luke. Do your thing.
What's good, Smitty? So, boom. I'm in a 35-man league we drafting right now. It's like the last 2 rounds. And I'm wondering, should I go Quez Watkins, Deontay Harris, or Zacchaeus from the Falcons? Let me know something.
Oh, I don't. None of those make sense. And when you whisper them, it's like it's even worse. I'm like low energy, not feeling the vibe about any one of them. Oh, man, Cordarrelle's still there. Take Cordero. I know that's a different question. Okay, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling any of those. Eno Benjamin, I don't know. Take the backup there in Arizona. They're doing a 1-2 punch thing. Not sure. not sure about that question. But I appreciate you. Pal. Kevin.
League winners 2022. You got Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle as a trio. And if you don't go that, you're going to go Pitts for tight end, Pittman as wide receiver, and Javonte Williams as running back.
Is this Kevin's show? Like, what's Kevin doing? Trying to try out for the show? You start spouting off. Let me give you the league winners for 2022. This is the Kevin show. I appreciate you, Kevin.
What are your thoughts?
I love Javonte. But Tua, no league winner. But I think the offense and the team will do well. Absolutely like him. Tua I don't like. I mean, I like the Miami Dolphins. I think the Miami Dolphins are going to ball. But I'm not buying Tua. I'm not investing in Tua. You've got literally, a situation that's going to make him a lot better than he is, and he's going to play around 10. He'll be a potential top 10 quarterback. He can produce those numbers, but like 9 to 15 is like really close. So he could be 15 and still be really close to top 10. So people need to not get their panties in a bunch when I rank him like 14. They're like, how are you going to rank him 14 when he's got Waddle? Because it's like you've got Aaron Rodgers or Brady or, one of those guys out of your top 10 if you're putting Tua in there. I mean, the top 10 is deep. We're talking about a deep quarterback crew, which I know makes people say, why ever go early on quarterback? Because sometimes that 1 overall or 2 overall quarterback is going to score 10 more touchdowns than the rest of them. So it doesn't shy me away from going early quarterback, although I do love going Trey Lance. I do love grabbing some guys later because I like both approaches. Both approaches deserve some love. I don't think anybody should just say you don't go early because it's deep, or you don't go with a deep quarterback selection because there's a guy that can outscore every other quarterback by a lot. It's a combination of best player available and flow of draft. But when you've got Herbert, Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Brady, Lance, Murray, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers as a top 10, that doesn't include Stafford or Watson when he's back, or Dak Prescott or Derek Carr or Jalen Hurts, who you might hate, but he does well fantasy-wise. Tua's right after those guys. Could he score better than 2 or 3 of them? Sure. But I'm not ranking Tua above 3 or 4 of those names that I just listed. I just can't do it. Tua hasn't earned that to me. David with a super chat like a monster. You still got room in the 96-team league? I do, David, and you just got a spot, pal. DM me on Instagram right now. Let me know once you've sent it, please. And then I will check your DM. So do it. Do it live. Appreciate you, David. And if you guys want in the 96-team Cooper Cup League, this is what David just got in by dropping a $20 super chat or more. He got a spot in this league right here.
I give you Fantasy Cup 2022.
15 rounds, 96 owners. That's 1,000 for 140 picks. 8 copies of every player in the player pool.
That means Jonathan Taylor will likely consume all of picks 1 through 8. and Henry and Cup could make up most of picks 9 through 24.
60-minute timer.
This draft could take 80 days to complete.
96 owners, 15 rounds, 8 copies of every player in the player pool.
One division of 96. One winner.
I give you Fantasy Cup 2022.
So definitely get your league on. Tell me when that DM is sent, David. Tell me when it's sent. But yeah, would love for you guys. Spacula, I sent you the message again, the invite again. Check your bulk mail. I've sent it to you a couple times, Spacula. It's probably in your junk mail. Where are we at? Do ETN, James Robinson coming off injuries have any sneaky play potential for upcoming season? James Robinson, no. Achilles. You guys hear me talk about Achilles all the time. Run away from that. Achilles injuries are... And thank you for the super chat again, David, and let me know when you sent that DM. The Fantasy Football Show. ETN's got a lot of upside. He's got a little risk because he has that Liz Frank injury, and that can be career-ending if it's bad enough, but it also could be recoverable. And everything we're hearing is good. He's young. It sounds like he has like an 80 to 85% recovery, gain right now, and he's about 15% away from being 100%, which is a nice, honest assessment. I'm glad people aren't, being coy with that. That's a good, honest assessment. James Robinson tore his Achilles tendon. It's going to take time. You don't bounce back. I don't care if Cam Akers hit the field 6 months after recovery. That is not a smart move. And Cam Akers is setting himself up for future injury, which is one reason I'm completely avoiding Cam Akers in 2022. It's not good that he came back. It's not good. People say, oh, but Cam did it. Cam didn't do it. Cam got on the field and looked awful. Had no explosion and probably put himself at risk. What kind of damage did he do by going on the field early? Something's going to pop later is my guess. You don't come onto the field. It's like driving on with no brake pads and using your rotors only for a whole car ride from California to Nebraska, and then saying, oh, well, okay, now we're going to put brake pads on it and see how she rides. Look, Cam shouldn't have played. James Robinson, I'm not touching him. ETN, I would. The injury's different. It's still concerning. We still got to monitor and adjust and adapt if we find out ETN's not recovering well. But 80 to 85% ETN, very good receiving back. Trevor Lawrence will lean on him. A lot of upside. Fifth round value, I like that all day. Akers, second or third round, run for the hills. Get out of here. Thank you, Spacula. Awesome. Okay, glad you're in, Spac. Should I keep Darrell Henderson in Dynasty just in case Akers can't hold up? Absolutely. I mean, it depends who you're going to not pick up by rostering Henderson, but my guess is you're talking about scrubs, so hold on to him. Who knows what happens. What's up, Swaggy? Swaggy and the Hizzy. Appreciate you, Swags. What else we got going on here? Okay, so let's get back on topic. The topic is Debo, A.J. Brown, specifically, Metcalf, and McLaurin. What do we think's going to happen? I've already said it, but I'll say it again. For everybody in the back that didn't hear me the first time on the last live stream, which was like 2 hours ago. Emergency live stream. If you're not following and subscribed, like if you're just watching, like it's weird how many people watch but don't actually like hit the subscribe button, which actually helps me. So please hit the thumbs up button right now. Just take a moment for your boy Smitty, who's slaving over here every single day, creating content, trying to do 2 videos whenever there's breaking news, do an emergency live stream. And all I ask is when you come in, you wipe your feet, Just hit the like button every time. Leave a comment when you can, for goodness sake, because your boy Smitty replies to every single comment. And if you're watching and you're not subscribed, what is going on? Because you won't get alerts that I'm doing an emergency live stream. And on said emergency live stream, over 2 hours ago, your boy Smitty told you A.J. Brown is the least likely to get traded. Why? Because the Titans are the most equipped, at least in their mind, the most equipped to win, because they were the number 1 seed last year in the playoffs. They feel they can do it again. So they're not trading A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown took Tennessee. He didn't scrub his social media per se, but he did a little tiny scrub, little mini scrub, a Walmart version of scrubbing, the Walmart scrub. He went boom, took off Tennessee from his profile, removed Tennessee from his profile, kept some photos up, Definitely looks like he might not play for the Titans anymore if you were to just glance at it, right? Literally takes that off. Boom. What'd I tell you? Dude's going to sign a contract before anybody. Diana Rossini, ESPN. I'm told both sides are working towards an extension for A.J. Brown to remain a Titan for a long time per sources. And this off the back of A.J. Brown's tweet saying, I'm a diva and a bad teammate all of a sudden. LOL. Okay, do what you have to do. Then and so will I, says AJ, who I go live with once in off season. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully he still does that with me this year. He and I go live. I ask him some questions. I tell him he's going to be great. And then he goes and becomes great. So look for that Instagram live interview. Hopefully that will come. With all this chaos right now, you never know who's going to respond to you. Like, Deebo Samuel followed my boy RSF 49ers, Dr. Raj, but unfollowed him and everybody else, not just Raj. And so these players are like, when they're in these modes, they're not talking to anybody, nobody. So I might not hear from A.J. Brown, which will make me sad. Spacula going to win the Cooper Cup League, he says. Hey, man, you can do it. You can do it. Win that helmet. Win this custom fantasy ring from Custom Fantasy Rings. This Super Bowl looking $150 to $300 beauty right here from my boys at Custom Fantasy Rings comes in this magnificent box. Your girl's going to say, I do. As soon as you open it up to show her, you go, babe, look what I have. She's going to go, I do. And you go, it's Custom Fantasy Ring. She's going to go, shit. And then you're going to be in a fight and you're going to blame me. But anyway, you get that ring if you win. Autographed 49er Hall of Fame helmet. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice autograph on one helmet. Guess who's giving that one up? Grant. But you got to beat Grant and win the league. If Grant wins the league, second place isn't getting it. No one's getting the helmet. You got to win the league and beat Grant. And he's providing that one. He's putting that up for grabs, just like he did the DK Metcalf jersey. So come get Grant's Hall of Fame Jerry Rice and Joe Montana autograph Hall of Fame red helmet. Silver in the house. What's up, Silver? So A.J. Brown least likely to get traded. In fact, deals being worked on as we speak. Deebo Samuel most likely to request a trade, most likely to be the most disgruntled of this group, and yet the Niners are going to react slower than the Seahawks will, who want to build and blow things up and get draft capital for DK before this draft comes up. So DK's probably getting traded. KC, Cleveland, Green Bay. Those are my top three spots. Anything can happen. I might be leaving out a spot that I'm going to be like, yeah, that one's my favorite. No, Green Bay. My favorite place would be Green Bay, then Cleveland, then Kansas City. Or maybe Kansas City, then Cleveland. Because Watson could miss half a year. But goodness gracious, man. Imagine DK Metcalf. This is like that guy that's got the mullet and it's out of style, but he hasn't cut it yet, and he's had it so long it comes back in style. He didn't mean to, but now he's got a mullet and he's in season. He's in style. That's somebody that has DK Metcalf right now. They're gonna get lucky holding him because no one wants him, and then boom, he's gonna come back around and be worth more than that person's holding on to him. Just don't have any lingering offers out there where you're sending DK packing and then a trade gets accepted in the NFL, and then the person that's got this DK Metcalf offer is like, accept? Because DK Metcalf, imagine him in Green Bay. Imagine it. DK Metcalf, in my opinion, is the most likely to get traded of these 4 wide receivers. McLaurin, probably second most likely, even though Debo is going to request a trade probably first out of all 3. Which is, it's hilarious. It's crazy. Sorry, I got a message here. Key, DM me on Instagram right now. You won in the Cooper Cup League. I could definitely get you a spot. We got like 15 spots left probably still. At least 15. So they'll go fast though. And if you're not in this league, you're going to be so upset at yourself. You're going to be so upset at yourself. Here's a voicemail from Thrive.
Smitty, got a quick question. Should I trade Derrick Henry and the 108 for the 101, possibly Breece Hall? What are your thoughts? Thanks, man. Love the show. Question.
What's he saying?
Should I trade
Derrick Henry
and the 108 for the 101, possibly Breece Hall? What are your thoughts? Thanks, man. Love the show.
I would take Breece Hall, but that's me. You're talking about Dynasty. So, answering your question right now on the show, I'd rather have Breece Hall. This is Dynasty we're talking. He's got more value. Derrick Henry's got 3rd or 4th round value in Dynasty. I know a lot of redraft people don't understand that when they hear that. They're like, Derrick Henry's top 5. No, he's not. In Dynasty, he's a 3rd or 4th rounder. Give me Breece Hall. Give me Breece Hall. Okay, so I need DMs from David and from Key. Drop them. Guys, I might be live later tonight. Appreciate every single one of you. I answer every comment on my videos, so please ask me a question, test me out, drop me a comment, and let's see if I get back to you. Okay, it may take me a day sometimes. I still got a couple pending questions from the last 2 shows, but I get to them. I get to every single question. I think DK comes down to situation. He could be amazing in certain spots. Yeah, but he's better than being where he's at right now, Drew C. So we're hoping for a move, right? We want to move. Even if it's to Cleveland and he's got Baker or Brissett throwing to him for half a season, that's bad. But long term, we like that. We like that. Appreciate everybody here. You guys rock. You make the show Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm here every Monday through Friday. Please give a thumbs up on the way out, and please comment and share the show and hit the sub button. I'd like to be in the Cooper Cup League. DM me on Instagram at The Fantasy Football Show, Daniel. If you want to be in the Cooper Cup League, DM me right now at The Fantasy Football Show on Instagram and tell me, hey, Cooper Cup League, David, I need to hear from you. Key, DM me on Instagram, The Fantasy Football Show. Appreciate every single one of you.